officials, Bill Oakes, Dan Crawford, Ed T. Rush. Let's keep an eye on Michael Jordan. Will he shake hands with Karl Malone? You recall the last game of the series between Chicago and Miami. Yeah, there it is. All right. No question about it here. Little touch between Jordan and Malone. It was not the Alonzo Mourning treatment. Game 1 of this best of 7 NBA final. Greg Ostertag and Luke Longley on the opening tip, and it's controlled by the Bulls. Scottie Pippen picked up by Bryon Russell, and Michael Jordan being played by Jeff Hornacek. Goes to the post-up and rebounded by Russell.
Well, no surprise that they would go inside to Michael, and I think Utah can live with him taking the jump shots at least to start.
Beautiful pass.
Yes, Karl Malone with the nice lead for John Stockton.
That's exactly the type of ball that Utah has to play, forcing the Bulls back underneath the basket. Great change of pace cut by Stockton.
And Longley had it knocked away. Russell with the save, and he called for the 22nd timeout.
I think that's a wasted timeout there by Utah. Too early to be calling him out just for a single possession.
All right, earlier we talked with Michael Jordan on a number of subjects, one of which, will he use the extra motivation in Karl Malone winning the most valuable player, beating out Michael? Will that be used for this series?
I think that's something that Karl's earned. And, you know, people could easily said Michael Jordan was MVP this year, but they didn't. And to have animosity or any type of jealousy or use that individual accolade to motivate myself, I don't really want to. I think the motivation that I have is that, you know, we've been to the final 4 times and we're 4 straight. We won 4 out of 4. This is the 5th time we're going to make it 5 out of 5. That's where my motivation comes. It's not individualistic to where I'm trying to prove something about the MVP. And I love to win, even if I'm not MVP.
Karl Malone, very aggressive offensively. Michael Jordan, the gracious competitor, maybe the most gracious of our time. But that does sting a little bit. He had a chance, a realistic chance of catching Jabbar at 6 MVPs.
On his Jordan. So the Jazz up by the score of 4-2.
Well, so far Utah has Michael taking the jump shot, fading away, with John Stockton coming down to double.
Chicago's got Luke Longley guarding Karl Malone. That's going to keep Dennis Rodman out of foul trouble and allow him to sweep the defensive boards.
Yesterday, Karl Malone said he felt that he was borrowing the MVP trophy. He'd like to borrow one of the rings, one of those championship rings that is owned by Jordan. Jeff Hornacek, a Chicago area product, being played by Michael Jordan. Malone now being taken by Longley. And here the early going. Phil Jackson is providing a number of looks on Karl Malone. The officials confer with each other. And the outside official, Dan Crawford, said last touch by Utah.
Well, in many cases, it's going to be difficult for Dennis Rodman to get back in transition with Karl Malone because Karl runs the floor so hard and Dennis goes to the offensive board.
And that a traveling violation.
Terrible start for Chicago. They look incredibly sluggish. Utah sharp. I think Karl Malone, when he gets Longley on him, can turn and face and get whatever he wants.
Well, in recent games, there have been very few periods of high-quality basketball played by the Chicago Bulls.
Not where I've been, out in the West.
That three-point shot is deflected to the crowd. Of course, you have not seen Eastern basketball in a while, Bill.
We do have television out there, Mark.
I think Chicago would be very happy for Karl Malone to take Luke Longley away from the basket and just shoot jumpers and not get people in foul trouble.
And again, Jordan to the post-up. Michael Jordan coming into tonight 20 for his last 66 over the last 2 games, which is very poor shooting at 30%. And both clubs having their difficulties at the start. The Jazz with a 4-2 lead. Luke Longley comes off a strong game against Miami.
Well, I was just about to say, the reason both teams struggling, they're settling for jump shots. That time a little transition and a nice finish by Longley.
Stockton got the step. He took Harper off the dribble.
And one of the rare times you see Michael Jordan make a defensive error on the weak side. Turned his back, never saw the ball.
Utah by 2. We're just underway at the United Center in Chicago. Pippen pass on the 3. And a 3-second violation.
Well, the big man trying to get offensive rebounding positions on the shot they thought Scottie Pippen was going to take. Standing straight up is Ron Harper, and that's death against John Stockton. Too quick off the dribble. You're right there. Michael Jordan looking the wrong way.
And very early 3 turnovers committed by the Bulls.
What a pass.
Malone, he saw Hornacek cutting inside and was able to find him. The Jazz 8 and the Bulls 4. Pippen for 3. Rebound handled by Ostertag.
That was just a quick jumper by Scottie Pippen to see what it would feel like. Dennis Rodman didn't even cross midcourt on the play.
Great start for Utah. Just keep playing this game. Carl's got to catch that pass, though. I mean, that's a player like John Stockton, who is the quickest decision maker in basketball, and I think that includes Michael Jordan. The key against Carl is to try to keep him out of the middle and force him into that turnaround jumper.
And the Bulls have scored on only 2 of their first 9 possessions. Michael Jordan adding to that percentile. The Jazz 8 and the Bulls 6.
But in all 5 of their misses, the Jazz have got the defensive rebound, and that battle of the boards critical. Rodman 0 rebounds on the evening.
Stockton with the lead for Ostertag, but he lost the grip. Phil Jackson wanted a traveling violation.
Ostertag has to tear the basket down. Now, this is the finals.
Jordan backing Hornacek. Went to the fadeaway. Ostertag with the rebound.
Well, it's been exclusively Michael Jordan looking to score. Scottie Pippen is out there, but just floating, not really into the flow yet.
Team basketball against great block, Scottie Pippen.
Pippen with the recovery to stop Stockton. Here's Harper with room. And again, it's Ostertag.
Utah defensively is not double teaming, even on Jordan. They've got the whole concept of team beats individual and working against everybody else they played this year.
And Malone able to keep it alive. Along with Ostertag and Russell up front. Hornacek, Stockton in the backcourt. Longley got a piece of it. But blocked by Longley on Malone.
Right crowd here in Chicago.
Well, that's usually been the tune at the start. Foul on Hornacek.
One possession back when Scottie makes the great extension. Remember, he's dragging that leg a little bit. You see the grimace. This is the first exercise Scottie has had since the closeout game against Miami, when he only played 7 minutes.
And the first foul committed by either team. 5:45 left in the first. Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen played only 7 minutes, game 5 against Miami here on Wednesday night. The injury called not serious, but very painful.
When you have that kind of injury, it's a little bit easier to play offense because you know where you're going. But on defense, when you have to react, that's when it'll sting you.
Here's Malone. Russell. And he drew the foul. Karl Malone is now 1 of 6 from the field. Scottie Pippen is called on this foul.
Marv, you say not serious. That's because it's not on your foot. Scottie Pippen.
That is always a consideration, it should be pointed out.
Scottie Pippen able to deliver the jump, but you can see him standing, favoring one leg. Not a good sign long-term for Chicago in this series.
Well, what I thought was going to be such a big factor in this game one was for Chicago to come out just firing defensively as they did in the clincher against Miami last Wednesday. But with both Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen falling asleep on defense as they had, it hasn't occurred yet.
Utah 10, Chicago 8. As we come up on 5 minutes to go in the first. Jordan lost it, but got it back to the field. And the Bulls very fortunate. Michael was able to deflect it back. to Luke Longley. The game tied at 10. Utah's missed its last 6 shots. Longley trying to front Malone, who was able to beat him, but not able to hit. Ostertag with the tip will not count.
Karl Malone has missed some easy shots. He can't get frustrated with that. That happened to him during the road games in the Western Conference. But Utah has been out great in front of every team, every game with the exception of the Karl Malone 2 for 20 game. Utah very happy with this start.
Foul on Ostertag. Steve Kerr has come on, replacing Ron Hoffer. Game is tied at 10 with 4.5 to go. First quarter pass intended by Pippen. Intended to Pippen. And here's Hornacek getting it down. Russell rebounded by Malone. He's been off. 1 of 8 from the field for Karl Malone.
But these two teams rarely play against each other, just 2 times a year. Karl is offensive foul here, whistled against the Bulls. But Karl Malone, he has to find out the defensive range of Luke Longley, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Here's Karl with a great offensive rebound. Not really sure if Longley can get off the ground. I'm not sure either.
Scottie Pippen was called for that foul, the second, and he'll take a seat. Tony Kukoc, who has struggled because of the leg injury, has checked in for the first time, and Howard Isley, the 3-year man from Boston College, has come on. Foul is called on Ostertag, offensive foul. That is his second.
And Luke Longley hasn't had to get off the ground yet because Karl Malone is not making him work. I think he's got to step outside, face up, either take the jump shot if he has it, or beat Luke Longley off the dribble. And on the clock substitution by Utah, Jerry Sloan always taking John Stockton out on that first stoppage of play after 6 minutes. Phil Jackson taking advantage to get Steve Kerr into the ballgame to get a perimeter threat.
And both Phil Jackson and Jerry Sloan doing some shuffling. Judd Bushler has come on, as has Greg Foster for Utah, with just under 4 minutes remaining in this first quarter. As Rodman, who has been very offensive-minded the last couple of games. Utah's missed its last 9 shots, 4 of 18 from the field. Rodman now defending against Malone. Malone, yes, only his second field goal.
Probably one of the reasons why Phil Jackson wanted to keep Rodman off. Has trouble defending in a post against a player like Malone. Dennis is almost better off playing a big guy like Shaquille O'Neal. He just does not play power forwards that well.
Open shot for Kukoc. With a 3-pointer. And the Bulls lead by 1.
Now, how important is that for Chicago with Scottie Pippen struggling? The Bulls are going to need an all-around game from Tony Kukoc.
Isley gets it out to Malone. Hoffman reaching for that rebound. That's his second board.
Nice denial of the outlet pass by Bryon Russell, forcing Kukoc to walk it up.
And the basketball count whistle against Utah.
Come on, Rashad back in Chicago. Now the big story going in this game was Scottie Pippen's left foot. He did play some in the first quarter, and then he has been on the bench. I just talked to him a moment ago. He said he's in extreme pain. He really can't push off on the left foot. I asked him, was he going to continue to play? He said he wants to, whether or not they'll let him play. Mark?
Artemani played the first 5 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field. His absence, obviously a major loss. In many ways, he has been the Bulls' most valuable player of the postseason. Tony Kukoc from long range, and kept alive as Bushler was able to tap it to Rodman.
And that's just the first second chance opportunity for Chicago, the best offensive rebounding team in the league.
Kick ball is indicated against Utah, so Bulls maintain possession. They get the new 24.
Scottie's foot is bothering him that much. He should not come back in. This series is going to go very long. They need him at full strength, not half or less.
Bulls lead 13-12 with 2:15 remaining in the first. Jordan, yes. Michael Jordan telling us earlier he would not force the issue. Trying to work out of the throes of a mini slump, but he said he'd let the game come to him. Well, he's attempted 6 shots. He's 3 of 6 from the field. Just under 2 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Here's Russell. Rebounded by Rodman. 3 Chicago players to the boards.
Wild shot by Bryon Russell. He wanted it early against Jordan in the post. They waved him off. He was determined to shoot when he got it back.
Jordan. And Malone off the box out.
Marv, Utah is controlling their defensive board, something Seattle could not do last year. Gave them absolutely no chance to win the championship. That's going to be key. Who wins the battle of the board?
And a strong move by Malone going straight down the lane for his 3rd bucket. The Bulls lead by 1 with 1:10 left in the first.
And with Scottie Pippen's problems, Tony Kukoc becomes more and more problem and more important as a playmaker.
Judd Bushler, who has been a major contributor throughout the playoffs. Judd, a 7-year man from University of Arizona. His playing time has been spotted, but usually gives consistent minutes. Once again, it's Rodman on Malone. Malone is feeling for Rodman, and a foul is called. Kind of a touch foul that was indicated.
I think it's going to be on Steve Kerr off the ball, who has a bit of a left hand problem. He heard it on the play before at the defensive end. Howard Isley, when he cut to the basket, kind of hung in the lane looking for a return pass from Malone, and Steve Kerr tried to push him out of there.
Real quick, Utah, 2-for-1 here opportunity.
Isley, Howard Isley, who has done the job off the bench, usually comes on to spell John Stockton in his 3rd year out of Boston College. 2nd round pick of Minnesota originally, and then on to San Antonio, the CBA in Utah.
And he's played marvelous basketball. He's got the toughest role in the entire NBA backing up Stockton. One-on-one Jordan to close it out.
We're down to 10 seconds left in the first. The Bulls have a 1-point lead. Isley trying to put moves on Kerr. Down to 2 seconds, and Isley hits. What a shot by Howard Isley. Bushler fires it up. 2nd quarter underway here in Chicago. Marv Albert, Matt Lucas, Bill Walton, along with Ahmad Rashad and Jim Craig. 1 point, Utah lead. Now Brian Williams on the floor for the first time. A beautiful pass again. Malone finding Foster.
Well, it appears that Carl has been hesitant when he's catching in the post, but what he is doing is expecting the double team when he puts the ball on the floor, and when they have, he's found the open man.
Randy Brown has come on for the first time. Here's Kukoc. Tony Kukoc with his 2nd 3-pointer. And Kukoc had been struggling right throughout the playoffs. In fact, against Miami, had a very poor series, only 6 of 27 from the floor. Brown off the steal. He has stopped it back. Goes to the pull-up. And the Bulls lead by 2.
Randy Brown will be a critical factor in this series for the Bulls. The time he spends on Stockton. Stockton has not exerted himself offensively, trying to draw a foul on the cut-through right now.
Defensive foul. A difficult start. Bryon Russell 0 for 4 from the field.
And Jerry Sloan unhappy with that call, thinking Tony Kukoc too far underneath the rim to take that charge on Bryon Russell. So far, Kukoc giving it to the Bulls at the offensive end, and unexpected nice play at the defensive end.
Shannon Anderson, the rookie from Georgia, has played so well. He's come on for the first time. That's a traveling violation on Brian Williams. 1.5 minutes gone by in the 2nd quarter. And it's the Bulls 22 and the Jazz 20.
Phil Jackson looking out on the floor, trying to figure out where the Jazz will go right now, with Karl Malone getting a breather. John Stockton will be the man to decide what happens there.
Antoine Carr usually just steps right in, takes all the shots, and run the same plays for him. Maybe not as many cross screens. He's not as good a passer, but an outstanding low post scorer, Antoine Carr.
Back to Brown, and the rebound handled by Carr. Traveling violation. What a play by Hoffer. That caused the travel. Stockton had no room to operate.
I was with Tony in the locker room before the game. He says it's just nothing but trouble. Can't run, can't push off. He's just trying to get through it so he'll get better for next season.
Yeah, he's been forcing it back with a strained right arch. Had problems with the foot all season. Kukoc off the spin. Couldn't hit that one. 22-20. Bulls up with 9.5 remaining in this first half. Chris Morris on the floor for the first time. It's Foster. Good ball movement by the Jazz.
All of that set up by the deadly cross screen by John Stockton. And what you try to do defensively is bump him off so he can't get a good look. But Randy Brown bumped him right into the screen.
The Jazz's ball movement has been far superior, as has their rebounding. If they had any kind of touch on their jumpers, particularly Carl, they'd have a 10-point lead here.
Sitting down at the moment, 3 of 11 from the field, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Now one travel, called on Stockton, but a foul committed. And it's against Chicago. It is on Brown. Well, you can chat with a member of the Chicago Bulls. Join Bulls forward Judd Bushler in a live chat session tomorrow, Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on NBA.com, the official website of the NBA. Jerry Sloan now has a backcourt of Stockton and the rookie Anderson. He has Foster with Carr and Morris up front. Michael Jordan making his return. 3 of 8 from the field, 6 points. The Jazz up by 1, 23-22. And Chicago with Jordan and Brown at the guards, Pippen, Kukoc, and Williams on the front line. Jordan played by the rookie Anderson. Jordan shooting over. Brandon Anderson.
Utah clearly has made the decision not to double team. Jerry Sloan does not want everybody else getting layups. More importantly, to keep off the offensive glass.
Foster feeling it. Greg Foster has the good touch. A guy who's made the rounds a couple of years at Washington, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Chicago, Minnesota, Utah.
He got his start at UCLA. That was the big
Yes, he did. Randy Brown. Actually, you look at his record, it sounds like Matt Lucas is out there.
Hodges throwing himself in. They called the offensive foul that time.
And for Stockton, it is his first.
Well, Greg Foster has found a home here and has a role much like Bill Wennington for the Chicago Bulls. John Stockton, so quick on that crossover, just runs Michael Jordan right out of there. A little extra acting on the part of Michael. That's not a foul.
Here's Pippen. Pippen on the follow.
That's the way to dive on the floor.
Good hustle by Morris. Guided to Anderson. Time by 1. It's game 1 of the best of 7 NBA Finals Series. Game 2 here in Chicago on Wednesday, right here on NBC, starting 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Chris Morris never shy about firing from all angles. It looked like Foster and Kukoc and Anderson got involved.
Are you trying to say, Mark, that Chris Morris made up his mind what he was going to do as soon as he caught that ball? Although that play was kind of called for him, anything popping up off the weak side, and he is a three-point threat, but he didn't even see the basket when he let the ball.
Utah should come back to Greg Foster. He's the one with the hot hand.
The last foul was called on Anderson, and then again away from the ball. Brown went flying. And Foster picks up his second. Timeout is being indicated. 7:04 remaining. in this first half. The Jazz by 1. Let's check in with Jim Brick. Jim?
All right, thank you, Mark. During that timeout, Jerry Sloan very happy with the defensive effort of the Utah Jazz. He said, offensively, however, you must set and hold your screens and take much better shots. Unhappy with the shot selections. Mark?
All right, Jim, and a fine shot selection on the part of Michael Jordan, who had the tongue wagging and put the move on and split right through and was able to hit.
Going to work on rookie Shandon Anderson, but no help from Antoine Carr, who was supposed to step up and trap that pick and roll. Michael just too quick.
Anderson beating down the play. Randy Brown was just called for a foul, and another foul against the Bulls. It's on Jordan, his first.
Speaking of trapping the pick and roll, Stockton caught along the baseline, and Jordan just came in and was karate chopping.
10 points for Jordan on 5 of 10 shooting. Randy Brown now defending on John Stockton. Here's Carr. Beautiful move by Antoine Carr, the 13-year professional from Wichita State. Original big dog for look out, Brown hit the floor, shake it up. Ryan Williams checking him over. Foul was called on Carr.
Got right out of the triangle offense. Bryon Williams, only 9 regular season games, but has a feel for this play. When he gets in the post, who's ever in the corner will make that baseline cut. He found Randy Brown.
Well, let's take a listen to this. You'll see at full speed. Ouch.
The thing that's been so impressive about this game so far, Mark, and what I think will hold up throughout this series is that you got the 2 best passing teams in basketball today. In this era of individualism and athleticism, you got great teamwork going both sides.
First time that the Bulls have been at the free throw line. Here's Karl Malone making his return, replacing Greg Foster. Did a nice job. 3 of 3 from the field. 6 points for Foster. And Dennis Rodman will come on for Tony Kukoc, who contributed with 6 points.
And Bill, because they are the 2 best passing teams, they are the 2 highest scoring teams in the league at 103 a game. But this is ridiculous here so far in the first half. Both teams with 27 points, mainly because they're playing just half-court basketball. Nobody get anything going in transition.
Jazz, they don't turn it over. It's going to be difficult for Chicago to force Utah into mistakes.
Bulls have a 1-point lead. We're halfway through the first half. Strip. Stockton recovers. Shot clock running down. Here's Anderson for 3. And Carr able to get to it. Nice miss from Anderson. Anderson with the setup.
Utah playing the team game. Everything for Chicago. One-on-one off the dribble, particularly Jordan and Kukoc.
Michael Jordan has 12, and the Bulls lead by 1.
Michael's eyes are wide as saucers right now going against rookie Shandon Anderson.
Meanwhile, at the other end, Shandon Anderson enjoying himself.
The Bulls have not played a team like this in a long time.
Shandon Anderson, a second-round draft pick. Utah did not have a number 1. The opening for Scottie Pippen. That's his second field goal. And the Bulls lead now 32 to 31. Shandon Anderson during the regular season provided a major lift. He's the brother of Willie Anderson. Spent time with the Miami Heat.
And the Utah Jazz have not played a team anything like the Chicago Bulls with their triangle offense, ball movement, and player movement as Michael Jordan just rises up on Shandon Anderson. And then the little handoff, one hand, just a touch pass as Scottie Pippen finishing, but falling, not falling, coming down gingerly on that left foot.
The previous foul was called on Dennis Rodman. Now Bill Oakes over the scorer's table. Indicating a technical foul on Chicago Bulls assistant coach Tex Winter. Apparently that triangle that was drawn by Tex in the wrong color.
Isosceles triangle rather than an equilateral triangle.
Tex, a very quiet gentleman on the bench, but obviously, as we all know, you can't hit a nerve. Well, all times.
And it's probably not just the first time Tex has said something in this game. He's probably been hacking away.
Settle down, Utah, play your game.
4.5 left in the second quarter. And a travel shot on Anderson.
Utah is attacking Michael Jordan. They've bought into Jerry Sloan's look. Don't get intimidated by this guy. He's going to do his thing. He's going to have a great game. But you've got to come back and get your game going too. The Jazz have established themselves.
7 turnovers committed by Utah, 7 by Chicago. Jordan with the open shot. And Carr reaching for that rebound. The game tied at 32.
Good stab defense by Scottie Pippen.
Shot clock at 7. Down to 3. Malone. Yes. Karl Malone has 10 points. It's the Jazz 34 and the Bulls 32.
Goodness gracious sakes alive.
That's almost a frustration shot because right now, Dennis Rodman having problems guarding Karl Malone.
Carl feels it. They got a double team and get it out of his hand.
Last touch by Brown.
Dennis Rodman just does not close quick enough on Karl Malone. The shot clock is winding down. Karl knows he's going to have to put up a shot, but just by creating space there, gets far enough away from Dennis Rodman, who got a hand up, but way too late.
Stockton got the step. John Stockton with his 4th field goal. He has 8 points and 4 assists. The Jazz leading by 4 as we approach 3 minutes to go in the first half. What a foul by Carr.
Yeah, the offensive rebounding and court savvy and presence of the Jazz, giving him more shots. Stockton has been passing early. That freezes the defense. Not a great leaper. Not blazing speed, but great quickness. Depth check interception.
Dennis Rodman serving up the air ball. Reminder, on Wednesday, we hope you join us back here in Chicago, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Pacific. Game 2 of the NBA Finals. It's the Bulls and the Jazz. Game 2, Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, right here on NBC.
Jazz killing Chicago on the boards, 23-14.
Air ball being played by Rodman. What we've seen here in the first half by Chicago, and those who have been watching the Bulls as of late can't be surprised they have not been playing their best basketball during the playoffs, despite the record of 11-2 during the playoff run. Bad pass by Bryon Williams, leading to another Chicago turnover. Rodman gambled, could not take advantage. Pippen with the rebound.
Didn't have good balance that time, but the Utah Jazz are overplaying every post-entry pass.
Again, the hesitation by Pippen that led to the turnover. Stockton for 3. John Stockton, the hero. The other night against the Houston Rockets, which put the Utah Jazz into the finals by virtue of his 3-pointer. And Utah getting the help off the bench. 7-0 run by the Jazz. They lead them 39-32 here to Jordan. Rodman with the tip. Rodman again. And took a poke in the eye.
Big advantage. Karl Malone quickly. Rodman is confused. Scottie helped him out.
Minute 35 remaining. First half. Marvell, Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Oliver Rashad, Jim Gray from the United Center. Game 1 of this best of 7 NBA Final Series. Steve Kerr back on the floor. Scottie Pippen posting up. Michael Jordan being played by Bryon Russell. Jordan receiving a number of looks here in the first half, and the foul is called Anderson.
Well, the Bulls have been very quiet on the offensive glass so far in this first half, but Dennis Rodman volleyballing the ball to himself a couple of times, but Karl Malone coming in there at the end of the play, catching Dennis Rodman right in the eye.
I like the volleyball. You know, that's coming up in Chicago in 3 weeks here.
That was for you,
The
Bill.
beach volleyball, yes.
And Pippen making his first appearance at the line. He has 5 points. Dennis still trying to shake things off.
Never fun to get an elbow to the face, particularly by a man as big and strong as Karl Malone.
The Utah lead is now 3 with 1:10 left in the first half. So the matchup is Kerr on Stockton. Hornacek is back, played by Jordan. Hornacek got the step. Rodman with the save. Dangerous save, but Longley was able to retrieve.
Mark Hornacek's had a tough day of it. 1 for 3. Shandon Anderson was playing better. Jerry Sloan decided to come back with his main guy, though.
And Greg Ostertag is also back on the floor defending on Rodman. Jordan. Rodman. Terrific ball instincts and he fires. Dennis a bit encouraged from recent development. On the loose ball, one of his great skills, and he's brought the Bulls within one.
The Jazz falling asleep, I think, dulled beyond belief when Dennis took that three-point shot.
Utah by 1. We're down to 15 seconds in the half.
High scoring first half.
Utah leads to the start. Russell for 3. Just did beat the 24. And that is his first field goal. Final seconds of the half. Halftime here in Chicago. Third quarter underway. 4-point Jazz lead. Utah ball as we get going. Hornacek stopped into the backcourt. Malone up front with Ostertag and Russell off the steal. Jordan stopped in the open floor and then run into by Russell.
How many times did Michael Jordan turn Bryon Russell around that time?
Well, Karl Malone early in this game finding cutters because he couldn't find his shot. Here Isley finds Karl Malone running on the fast break, and Dennis Rodman has had problems with Malone's little fadeaway jump shot.
Luke Longley set up by Michael Jordan. Dennis Rodman more and more a factor off the offensive boards.
Disturbing situation on the first possession here, give up an offensive rebound.
Pippen.
2 offensive rebounds. You have to establish yourself if you're going to have any chance to beat Chicago. 1 shot every time.
Utah Jazz went 64-18 during the regular season. That's a franchise record. Dangerous pass, and it backfired. Couple of bad possessions by the Jazz. Here's Jordan. Could not take advantage.
Well, Utah had 8 turnovers, uncharacteristic for them in the first half. And then to start the third quarter, 2 terrible passes.
Well, the passes are there, but the guards for Chicago, including Scottie Pippen, they have very, very long arms, great anticipation. Another turnover.
Stockton threw it away, but the Bulls gave it right back. Ostertag could not handle that pass from Stockton.
Sloppy start for Utah. And they haven't lost any ground.
Well, for a team that's capable of shooting 50% or better, Utah, you would think they would just make sure they come down a good shot. But a very bad start here in this third quarter for the Jazz.
And the crowd trying to get the Bulls going. A bad pass from Rodman.
Poor spacing on this break. They run through and create the Hornacek.
Hopper able to cover. The Chicago Bulls 69-13 during the regular season. Did not have many top flight moments in the playoffs through the series against Washington, then Atlanta, then Miami. And Hopper's pass deflected away. And following the fake, which put Stockton on the floor.
Stockton is a tough, hard-nosed defender who will stand in against anyone, no matter how big they are. Everybody's getting their hands on passes here.
Oh, Scottie Pippen with a good-looking three-point shot. He drilled it, and Pippen is showing some signs despite the foot injury. 4 of 8 from the field. He has 11 points. Holding foul, says the outside official.
That has to do with playoff basketball. A lot of half-court play, very little transition, but this is ridiculous.
Jeff Hornacek. So the Jazz leading now 44-41. Hornacek playing Jordan. Ball with the rebound. That's 8 rebounds for Karl Malone.
Good call on the run. Rodman didn't get back.
And Pippen had a notion to run. Utah did get back. Pippen for 3.
Wild shot.
And in many cases, John Stockton would have flipped that ball ahead to Bryon Russell, but the way that the Jazz have been turning it over, he wants to make sure.
Russell. Nice lead pass for Russell. His second field goal, he has 7 points, and the Jazz lead by 5.
Mark, never underestimate the athleticism of this Utah team, particularly Bryon Russell and Shandon Anderson.
Let it go! Let it go!
That shot goes down for Luke Longley. You can put him in this championship.
Yeah, he actually made a couple of those in the Miami series. Look at this third quarter. More turnovers than points.
Jordan screening for Rodman. That's what it's come to.
Well, Dennis Rodman looking for the offense. In fact, was a post-up go-to player the last couple of games against the Miami Heat. That's his second field goal here tonight. The Jazz 46, the Bulls 43. Oh, the block. Pippen, uncontested. The Utah lead is 1. The champ of defense. Malone comes out to set the screen. The lead for Malone off the pick and roll.
Well, Utah expects Chicago to send that pick and roll towards the baseline. And Jerry Sloan telling me yesterday, John Stockton actually likes that. He knows where everybody is, and he showed right there why he likes it so much.
Pippen lost the handle. Scottie Pippen looking very active here in this third quarter. Overall, 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 block shots. 13 on the 24. Chicago maintaining possession. Hopper and Jordan at the guards. Pippen, Rodman, and Longley up front. Pippen putting moves on Russell and hit.
Scottie Pippen, one of the greatest players of all time, schooling Bryon Russell, an up-and-coming star. Bryon has to play better, though. He was 1 for 12 in the regular season loss here in Utah at Chicago.
The Jazz by 1. Hornacek squeezing his way through. Ostertag with the rebound and the tip.
To be over 7 feet tall, what a dream.
Something that Matt and I cannot relate to, Bill.
I never quite made it, Mark. It was a paltry 6'11".
Ostertag at 7'2", about 280 pounds. Air ball.
The Bulls have resorted to setting double screens for Dennis Rodman.
And the Utah Jazz aren't going to guard him if he's going to keep shooting that way.
Utah by 3 as we come up on 6 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Stockton.
Beautiful play, Stockton. They're still figuring out how Chicago is going to play the pick and roll.
Scottie Pippen with 7 of the Bulls, 9 points in this third quarter. Malone comes out aggressively on Pippen. Phil Jackson wanted a foul call. Hopper waving it off. Now Jordan posting up Hornacek. Going glass. The Jazz 50, the Bulls 49.
By and large, Utah has denied penetration. Scottie everywhere trying to provide the spark.
At 7. Hornacek Jeff Hornacek getting the roll. That's his third field goal. He has 6, and it's the Jazz by 3.
The reason why Chicago wants to send it down, force it down, the one time they sent Stockton actually behind the backboard, made that a tough shot. But it's very difficult to find options when you force that dribbler down.
Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz reopened the wound on his right hand that he suffered a floor burn in the last series against Houston. Now, during the timeout, that wound was attended to by Mike Sheminsky, the trainer of the Utah Jazz. He's struggling with it. He put another patch on it. What he really can't do, though, is cover it during the game because it takes all feel away from him. So he wants it to get hardened again, but the problem is the sweat keeps getting on it. Now there's blood and sweat. Controlled during the timeout. He should continue. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim.
Marv, it's a big, open, ugly, nasty sore. It just oozes all the time, and not really something that is fun to deal with, and will not close up really until he stops playing basketball for a long period of time.
Michael Jordan at the line for the first time. Scottie Pippen has really lifted his play here in the third quarter despite the foot injury. For more of that, let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. You know, the injury is more that Scottie is adjusting to it. It hasn't gotten any better. It's still painful. At halftime, he took his shoe off, readjusted his foot a little bit, but the pain is still there. It's just the fact that he's dealing with it a lot better. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Jazz by 2, just under 5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Howard Isley, who just returned, played well in the first half. Came up short. There's Pippen with the steal.
Phil Jackson has gone to a lineup right now. John Stockton's out of the game, but you got Pippen, Jordan, Kukoc as your wing players, Longley and Robin in front. This could give John Stockton a lot of trouble down the stretch.
Jordan and Hornacek reaching for that rebound.
I think Phil Jackson might want to go smaller, get Longley out of there as Jordan gets called for the reach-in foul. You go smaller because Utah's controlling the boards, play with more quickness. The power game for Chicago, not effective right now.
Right, Bill, right now he has Longley with Rodman and Kukoc, Jordan, and Pippen. And the matchup is Jordan defending on Hornacek. Stockton is getting a rest. Isley is on the floor, being played here by Kukoc. Wild pass.
Greg Ostertag is, well, he's upset with his teammate right now. I think it's Bryon Russell I don't think he threw the pass. It was Isley who whipped it in there, but Greg Ostertag has to keep his hands up. He's going to break his nose.
I like that pass. Throw it in there nice and hard right at the head. Hit him in the head the next time. He'll catch it, I guarantee it.
Utah with 14 turnovers, 6 in this third quarter. Along with the toss out and a high elbow that was avoided by Pippen.
He was pushed first by Rodney.
Oh, that makes it all right.
He was pushed into Scottie.
Isley to the crossover. Setting it up for Ostertag, and it's a travel. Greg Ostertag, #1 draft pick out of Kansas. Last year, came a long way this season. Here's a look at that elbow that was avoided by Pippen.
He just put it up. He didn't swing it. Yeah, if they want to bite your elbows, Mark, nothing you can do about that.
From one big guy to another who has had personal experience. 3.5 left in this first half. And it's Utah by 2. Jordan lost the dribble, but a reach-in and a foul against the Jazz. Ball was knocked away from Michael Jordan. Howard Isley picks it up, his first.
And what this lineup for Chicago does is make Utah make a decision, and what they've gone with right now is put their point guard, Howard Isley, on Michael Jordan. This match.
Foul on Isley. That is his second. And for the Jazz, their 4th team foul.
And when Michael gets that post position against a smaller player like that, the Jazz know they have to come and help out, as all 5 purple shirts in the paint ready to give Howard Isley some help.
And turnovers beginning to hurt Utah. They now have 15-7 in the third quarter. They've not committed more than 16 in a playoff game this year. A reminder, tonight, right here on NBC, after the Bulls and the Jazz, on most of these NBC stations, there is terrific must-see TV comedy heading your way. Third Rock from the Sun and Men Behaving Badly. That's all coming at you tonight after Game 1 of the NBA Finals, right here on NBC.
Jerry Sloan up. Remember, he calls all the plays. Even with the brilliance of Stockton, who's not playing now, Sloan will call everything.
Oh, what a move by Isley.
And a great call by Jerry Sloan, because the Bulls trying to hide Kukoc, a poor perimeter defender, on the point guard. So Utah just spread the floor, took advantage of it.
Utah by 2. 2:45 remaining in the third. And the ball back to the Jazz. Timeout is being called.
I've walked away of situations in my life, and you call everything from a wimp to things you can't say on TV. But that's fine with me. I've worked 12 years to get here. I'm not going to look back when this season, this series over with, and say to myself, God, I shouldn't have did that. Will I take some elbows and things from Dennis? Absolutely. Will I give some as this series go on? Probably so.
And both players have kept it under control, and both players not getting involved with the official. That's a good sign.
Carl rarely gets involved with the officials. Only when they're taking it from him.
Michael Jordan with a good angle jump shot following up on the Jeff Hornacek roll. So the Jazz now leads 56-54 with 2 minutes left in this third quarter. Now Russell handling up high against Bushler. Goes right at him. Pippen rebounds. Kukoc running the floor.
The Jazz have gone away from Karl Malone. He's only taken 5 shots since the first quarter when he took 11.
Jordan putting moves on Isley and pops it out. Pippen for 3. The Bulls 57 and the Jazz 56. 18 for Scottie Pippen. Here's Malone. Karl Malone right back. But he has not shot well. He's 7 of 17. He has 14 points along with 12 rebounds. The Jazz by 1. 1 minute to go. And the foul is against Chicago. It's an offensive foul on Jud Bushler.
Scottie Pippen gets wide open because they have to double team Jordan with the lineup that Chicago's coming with, and Isley the only guy in there to match up with Jordan. Karl Malone can get that top of the key jumper anytime he wants.
Hornacek, 3 for Jeff Hornacek, who has caught fire, and the Jazz now lead 61-57.
At the open, we talked about, Jordan's wide open.
It counts into the foul. Isley turned his head, and Jordan beat him backdoor. So Jordan to the line. That's 3 on Howard Isley.
Well, it's difficult enough for the big guards of Utah, Shannon Anderson, Jeff Hornacek, to try to play Michael Jordan throughout this offense, but nearly impossible for a point guard like Howard Isley. Not used to seeing Michael Jordan. He's getting killed right now.
3-point play for Michael. He is 22 for the game. It's Utah by 1 with just under 40 seconds to go in the third quarter. Isley for 3. Oh, Howard Isley comes right back.
Yeah, he's just playing one-on-one with Michael Jordan out here. It's his lifetime dream come true. Utah, I think, should put Isley on Bushler and then put Hornacek on Jordan here.
Well, Jordan shooting over Hornacek. Down to 15 seconds remaining in the quarter. Utah with the ball up by 4.
Bust him in there.
Down to 5 seconds. Isley lost it. Here's Pippen. Chased by Hornacek. And Pippen goes all the way. 5/10 of a second remaining in the quarter. After 3 here in Chicago. It's a 64-62 game as we head to the fourth quarter. This game 1 of the best of 7 NBA Final Series. Chicago outscored Utah, as you saw, 24-22 in the third quarter. 12 points for Scottie Pippen and 10 for Michael Jordan for 22 of the 24. Jeff Hornacek had a big third quarter. 9 points in the third for Hornacek. Harper for 3. That one did not look good on the release.
It's the Jazz rhythm right now. They're in control of this game. Stockton is, shoot the layup, please.
Malone. And Last touch by Chicago, but Utah very upset that there was no foul called on that contact.
Bryon Russell's head was last touched by Brian Williams as he hammered him to the floor.
Stockton unselfish to a fault there. Should have been 2 points.
Stockton and Anderson now in the backcourt with Foster up front along with Russell and Malone. Jerry Sloan has done some shuffling, as has Phil Jackson. Brian Williams back in. Pippen got a piece of it to break up the pass.
Well, that's what Scottie Pippen can do for you defensively, sensing where that ball was supposed to go and timing his jump just to spoil the play, as it looked like Karl Malone had good low post position.
Here is Russell. And Harper with the rebound. Bryon Russell just 2 of 8 shooting. Tony Kukoc on the floor with Pippen, Williams, Bushwood, and Harper. Pippen. Harper with the rebound. And foul. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, well, Karl Malone is going to come out of the game. Antoine Carr will go in. Karl Malone is having terrible trouble with the right palm of his hand from that nasty gash. They really can't get it to stop bleeding and pussing, and it just continues to get worse as this game goes on, and there's really no way they can cover it, Mark, because if they cover it, he'll have absolutely no feel of the ball at all. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jim. So Karl Malone sitting down once again as Ron Harper goes to the line for the first time. Ron Harper yet to score.
And stick with it. They have not done that. Antoine Carr hits his first touch jumper. Now they need to establish more continuity. They've always gone away from the guy who's made the previous basket. Not good strategy.
Michael Jordan sitting down, getting a rest. Scottie Pippen with 22.
Well, as Michael Jordan gets a rest, the Bulls have to find some kind of offense, and it's been Scottie Pippen throughout this game. And to think, we thought he was going to be well below par in this ballgame. He's having a terrific one.
Scottie Pippen came in as a question mark because of that sprained foot. Basket won't count. And a foul before the shot attempt.
Bryon Russell defensively keeps chasing. Now, Scottie's never going to shoot a turnaround 3 going left. Bryon Russell playing an undisciplined defensive ball game right now, and is showing up back on his offense. He's a better player than that.
Foul called on Brian Williams. Hey, what's your reaction to the report by Pete Messi on Showtime earlier? Chuck Daly, the new head coach of the Orlando Magic.
Well, obviously the Magic wanting that championship experience that Chuck Daly can give you, having won 2 championships in '89-90 with the Detroit Pistons.
Michael Jordan right now getting a rest. He will make his return very shortly. Carr extends to the 68-65 Utah lead. Antoine Carr with 6 points.
Outstanding team basketball once again for Utah. The penetration, the dish, and then finally they come back to a guy who made the jumper before.
See Scottie Pippen's work, 14 points.
Kukoc shuffled his feet and they didn't call it.
Scottie doing his damage in the second half. Stockton and Anderson in the backcourt. Foster with Carr and Russell up front. Here's Foster, has the good touch. Not that time, though. Stockton calls for time. Alex Stockton saving the possession. So with 3 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter, it will be Utah ball when we resume. And the Jazz up by the score of 68-65. Well, for those of you who would like to continue the NBA Finals, we'll have a post-game special on CNBC. That'll be immediately following the game. Our entire cast will recount it all with highlights and live press conference interviews and guests as we look back at Game 1 here in Chicago. That's the NBA Finals post-game special immediately following tonight's game.
Well, one of the reasons why I think Jerry Sloan gets so much out of his bench is he's pretty much a clock substitutioner. In other words, every player coming up knows when he's going to get to play. We got Shannon Anderson, a rookie, getting meaningful playing time in the fourth quarter.
Jerry Sloan, one-time head coach of the Chicago Bulls, coached here in Chicago in 80 and 81 and 82, replaced incidentally by a fellow by the name of Rod Ford. Had a solid playing career here in Chicago. Very, very popular player.
Rod Thorne, of course, is now the director of operations and enforcement of all the rules for the NBA. Always looking over my shoulder.
Yes, as player and broadcaster.
Tonight, big 4-4, the 50 greatest players in the history of this game. Jordan and Pippen with the points. Karl Malone, a lot of shot attempts. I'd like to see John Stockton shoot a little bit more myself.
Well, I'm surprised that Utah has not run more pick and rolls. They're usually good for about 50 a game. They're not even about half that.
They went away from it in the Houston series, Matt, because of the way Houston guarded them. They haven't come back to it.
And a reach-in foul. See the turnaround by Pippen in the second half. There's Pippen over Russell. Mentioned John Stockton not taking that many shots. Just 4 of 6 from the field. Bulls able to break it up. Utah with 19 on the shot clock. Here comes Michael Jordan. Jordan over the scorer's table. He'll check in with 8 minutes and 3 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. And the hand is for Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen has kept the Bulls in the game tonight. And off the inbounds, Ed Rush with the indication. Foul is called, or kickball.
Execution on the baseline out of bounds play. Karl Malone, the best passing big man, just picks him right apart, right through the arms of the helpless defenders.
A tripping foul at the kicking indication on Jordan.
Well, we saw Michael Jordan have some defensive lapses early in the first quarter, and then coming hot off the bench, made a lapse right there as he tried to overplay that underneath out of bounds play.
That's 3 on Jordan. Here's Stockton. Well, John Stockton with only his 7th shot of the game. He has 13 points, 8 assists. It's the Jazz 70 and the Bulls 65. Jordan and Harper at the guards. Bushler with Rodman and Williams up front. Harper is open for 3. That is his first field goal.
And with John Stockton helping off Ron Harper, he has been open time and time again, unable to get a good-looking shot until that one. But Stockton, a very good help defender.
Bryon Russell is gambling foolishly, and it's not paying off defensively.
Utah with the ball up by 2. 5 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Malone hit from behind by Williams. He and Williams in a wrestling match along the baseline.
The bread and butter for the Utah Jazz is their pick and roll. Karl Malone will slide up, set a massive pick right there, and then Stockton steps over. He's coming off thinking jumper the whole way. Again, the decision-making capability of John Stockton, unsurpassed. First free throw attempt for Karl tonight.
Karl Malone shooting 77% from the line in the playoffs. He had an 18 for 18 game in the playoffs this season.
Well, this is not a typical Karl Malone game. True, he has resorted to more perimeter jump shooting, which will keep him off the foul line, but he's got to barrel into the basket and then get to the free throw line a lot more.
The Jazz leading 71-68. Over the last 2 years here at home in the playoffs, the Bulls have won 17 and lost only once. And that loss was game 2 against Atlanta this season in the second round. Scottie Pippen continues his magnificent performance and cuts it to a 1-point Utah lead.
I saw that bench scoring number heavily in favor 2-1 of Utah. That's been the way for the Jazz all playoffs as Karl Malone drills that jumper.
And Longley got a piece of it. Malone with 17, the Jazz 73, and the Bulls 70. It's game one of the best of 7, game 2 here in Chicago on Wednesday. And then the scene will shift to Salt Lake City beginning on Friday night. Hopper for 3. And a loose ball foul.
Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman getting mixed up there. They're calling a double foul here. They'll jump it up in center court.
Malone and Rodman a call for the double foul.
Well, it's getting down to that time where the Jazz have to make some important decisions as to how they're going to guard Michael Jordan, who normally takes over a game in the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. And it looks like Stockton is going to continue to gamble off Ron Harper and double Michael as soon as he feels he's making his move.
Well, the Jazz able to control the tip with just under 6 minutes remaining in the fourth.
Well, this is MVP time. This is when you pound it inside to Karl Malone and let him go to work.
And here's Malone.
Or settle for a jump shot. But he is taking Luke Longley out there where Luke Longley is just not going to be an effective defender.
Turning face against the big guy, torturing.
19 for Malone. Utah by 5. 5.5 remaining. Nice pass for Longley. Good look by Luke Longley. It's now 75-72.
Same thing. Karl Malone every single time.
Malone again from the outside. Rodman with the rebound. Good box out on Karl. Pippen being played by the rookie Anderson. Jordan posting up on Hornacek. Here comes Anderson. Shot clock at 4. And it's stolen by Stockton.
Bring it out and get something good.
Battle between Pippen and Malone.
It was so loud you couldn't hear the whistle. Everybody was playing.
Illegal defense called for the first time on Chicago.
Well, off the pick and roll, John Stockton drawing the defense to him, and a little pick and pop for Karl Malone as Luke Longley too slow getting out there. And then once again, Luke Longley too slow to react and challenge that shot by Karl Malone.
I don't know anybody in basketball who could ever guard that play by Karl Malone. That's a 21-foot jumper.
Stockton lost it. He thought he was fouled. And Jordan looking to reset. Hornacek is with him. Here comes Malone. Here's Jordan. Yes! The Utah lead is down to 1 with just under 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. 17 turnovers tonight for Utah. That's a team playoff high for this year. And a foul is called away from the ball, a hold on Longley.
Michael Jordan going to work on Jeff Hornacek. Karl Malone coming over to double team, but is going to overrun the play and let Michael Jordan knife inside to get that shot up. When you double Michael, you better make sure you clap.
14 fouls on Chicago, 3 on Utah. Here's Stockton. Pass. That's turnover number 7 committed by John Stockton.
Utah needs to play with poise here.
Jordan behind the back. Sets it up for Longley. Yes! The Bulls have taken a 1-point lead. Run for Chicago. Hornacek for 3. Jordan gets to the rebound, but a loose ball foul from behind. 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Bulls now lead the Jazz 76-75.
Well, terrific shooting by the two stars, and you certainly expect Michael Jordan to bounce back from some of the uneven shooting performances that he has, but an unbelievable performance by Scottie Pippen, who was very questionable, doubtful that he would even play in this ballgame. The rest of the Chicago Bulls not involved very much offensively.
That has been the strategy for Jerry Sloan. Make the individual stars, Akeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, beat you, shut down the rest of the guys. Now, Karl Malone's delivery time.
1 of 2 at the line for Malone. Another glaring statistic from a negative vein.
The field goal percentage to be a little bit higher, but it's down, I think, because he has become more of a perimeter jump shooter.
Clutch free throw shooting by the NBA's most valuable player, Karl Malone. And the Jazz leading by 1. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Jordan posting, putting those on Hornacek, and was forced into a difficult shot. Hornacek played him well.
Great defense by Hornacek, staying on its feet. The crowd here trying to make some noise, but really almost all you hear is the rattling and shaking of their jewelry.
Is this a commentary on Midwestern life?
You'll hear a different crowd in Utah, I guarantee you that.
Carr on the recovery. And Jordan was stopped, but Kukoc recovered. Again, Jordan working on Hornacek, this time at the other side. Jordan, will it count? Will he get the call? No, will not. The Bulls wanted it. The foul before the shot attempt on Hornacek.
And a break for Utah, as I'm sure Jerry Sloan reminded his team coming out of that last timeout. They had a foul to give, although I don't think that was an intentional one. Michael clearly had Hornacek and the double team beat.
Next foul to put them over the limit. Here's Jordan. Michael Jordan has worked his way back in terms of the stroke, and the Bulls lead by 1.
The double team coming too slow and not tough enough.
28 points for Jordan. They are down to 1:40 to go in the fourth. Cannon defense. Alone with the opening. Alone with the drive.
And I guess what set all that up was the fact that he has been making that outside shot, and it sucked Luke Longley right out there so Malone could get the penetration. 23 points for Karl Malone. Utah by 1. 1:20 remaining in the fourth. Jordan spinning his way on Hornacek. Rebounded by Harper. Pippen for 3. Yes! Chicago 81, Utah 79 as we approach 1 minute remaining in the fourth of game 1 of the best of 7 NBA Final Series. Stockton for 3. Yes! The Jazz by 1, 82-81.
One stop. That's all the Jazz need right now. Their offense is in gear. They got to pound that glass.
40 seconds remaining in the fourth. Jordan. And a foul is called on Hornacek. It puts Utah over the limit.
John Stockton, after almost everybody on the team touched it, John, they finally gave it back to him and almost forced him to shoot. Drilled the 3 like he did to clinch the Houston series. And now Jordan at the line.
Timeouts remaining. Utah has 3. Chicago 3 and a 20. Both teams over the limit. Jordan 4 of 5 at the line. And the game is tied at 82.
And Dennis Rodman coming on for Chicago for the defensive sequence, and no doubt to try to help on the backboard.
The game clock favors the Chicago Bulls. The way it is right now, they'll have the last possession if they can contain their own or control their own defensive backboard.
Now 35 and 8/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Michael Jordan missing on the second attempt. The score remains tied at 82.
It's got to be Karl Malone here. his MVP time.
Malone down at the right baseline being defended by Rodman. Shot clock is down to 5. 15 seconds on the game clock. Stockton setting it up for the three. And Malone with the recovery, and a foul has been called. Looks like a loose ball foul being indicated by Bill Oakes. It's against Chicago. It's on Rodman.
Well, first of all, it was terrific defense by the Chicago Bulls on the high pick and roll. Stockton had to go back towards his own man, forced to take a tough shot. But Dennis Rodman hanging on to that back and pulling on Karl Malone, who just wanted that rebound more than anybody else.
He's 3 of 4 at the line. 23 points, 15 rebounds, 9 and 2/10 seconds to go. Remember Malone hit just 6 of 12 at the line. Game 7 at Seattle last year in the Western Finals. I also mentioned he had that 18 for 18 this year in the playoffs. See the numbers right there. Both teams have plenty of timeouts remaining. Scores tied. 9 seconds left. And the Bulls have a timeout with 7 and 5/10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Down to 7 and 5/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The game is tied at 82. Now look at that second free throw by Karl Malone.
Extremely soft touch on both of them, and keep an eye on Karl Malone backing up as he shot. And you should never do that. You got to hang in there on the free throw and follow through.
But that's behind you. You got to move on. They've come with Shandon Anderson here to guard Scottie Pippen. They got Bryon Russell on Michael Jordan. Disciplined defense, forced the fadeaway jumper. Don't foul.
Jazz over the foul limit. We're down to 5. Jordan putting moves on Russell. We're down to 2. Down to 1. Here's Jordan. It is all over. The Chicago Bulls have won at the buzzer. Game 1 of the best of 7 on the jump shot by Michael Jordan. Dramatic fashion over the Utah Jazz. Michael Jordan going right at Bryon Russell and hitting on the jump shot.
Standard set play, end of game for the Chicago Bulls, and a smart play by Chicago by putting the ball in Jordan's hands where it'd be very difficult to come double team. They took Stockton away, of course, with Steve Kerr. He had to watch him, and Bryon Russell at Michael Jordan's mercy.
But Phil Jackson, so calm all the time, gets up and goes, all right, I like that guy on my team. But they got it to Jordan early, and Bryon Russell stabbed at it. He didn't play the position. He gave Jordan the opening.